If I told you that most people today are living in a state of quiet defeat, not because they lack talent, but because they lack mental strength, would you believe me? We spend our time scrolling, comparing, and envying others, and then we wonder why we feel stuck, weak, or lost. We're chasing comfort, but it leaves us feeling exhausted. We're avoiding pain, but we're suffering every day. The truth is hard to hear. Comfort is slowly destroying us, while struggle, though tough, holds the key to real power. But here's the thing. The ancient Stoics knew this long ago, before smartphones, social media, or self-help books. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not over outside events." Realizing this gives you strength. That's not just a quote, it's a powerful way to live in a chaotic world and stay unshaken. Stoicism doesn't make life easy, it makes you unstoppable. In this video, we're going to explore 8 tough Stoic laws that will help you level up mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Let's get real. No fluff, just facts. Each of these rules is based on simple truths that have been tested in ancient times and still apply today. Before we start, I need you to do something. If you're serious about changing, don't just watch this like another video. This is your wake-up call. Take action now. Click the like button, leave a comment when something hits home, and share this with someone who needs it. Most importantly, don't skip anything, because missing just one point could stop you from making progress when it counts most. Let's begin. 1. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. We've been taught to avoid pain, but the Stoics taught us the opposite, to face it head-on. Think about your biggest growth moment. Was it when everything was easy and you felt comfortable? Or did it happen when things got tough and you had to make a choice? Marcus Aurelius went through wars, betrayal, and illness, but he still managed to lead with calmness. He didn't try to avoid difficult situations. Instead, he let them help him grow. The Stoics believed that obstacles can actually help us move forward. What gets in the way becomes the way to go. This isn't just a nice idea, it's a rule. Every difficult situation is an opportunity to get stronger. Every delay is a test of how patient you can be. Every rejection is a lesson in how to be resilient. Modern life often tells us to avoid pain, but Stoicism says that we should prepare for it. Taking a cold shower, having a hard conversation, or going to the gym when you're tired are all ways to build your character. The Stoics thought that by choosing to face challenges, we can prepare for the difficulties of life. That way, when things get tough, we'll be ready. Seneca, another Stoic, practiced living a simple life. He slept on the floor, ate plain food, and wore old clothes. This wasn't because he hated himself, but because he wanted to train himself. Why? So that when life takes away our comfort, we're not shocked, we're ready. The truth is, discomfort isn't our enemy. It's a mirror that shows us who we really are and who we're becoming. We avoid a little discomfort today, but then we suffer a lot more tomorrow. However, if we face it with awareness, something amazing happens. We stop fearing the pain, and that's the start of our freedom. From now on, think of discomfort as a partner who helps us train. It might hurt, but it's helping us get stronger. Choose one small discomfort today and do it. No debate, take a cold shower, have a deep conversation, or sit with boredom. Remember, this is how we become strong. The only way to be unstoppable is to stop running. I want you to write this in the comments. Discomfort is my training ground. 2. Stop being controlled by your emotions. How often do your emotions decide what you do today? Someone says something mean and you get upset. Plans change and your whole mood changes. You feel lazy, so you skip work, the gym, and following a routine. It's not just you, it's all of us. But the truth is, if your emotions are in charge, you're their prisoner. The Stoics thought that being controlled by emotions is even worse than being physically locked up. Epictetus, a former slave who became a teacher, said, "Any person who makes you angry is your boss. They can make you angry only when you let them bother you." Think about it. That person who cut you off in traffic, you just gave them control over your happiness. That breakup, you gave it control over how you feel about yourself. That one rude comment online, you gave it control over your mood. You see, Stoicism doesn't ask you to ignore your feelings. It teaches you to understand them and respond instead of acting on them without thinking. That's the difference between a child and a person who follows Stoicism. The child throws a tantrum. A person remains calm in the midst of chaos and thinks. Even someone as powerful as Marcus Aurelius, who wrote his thoughts in a private journal called Meditations, understood that 1. If something outside of you bothers you, the pain isn't from the thing itself, but from how you see it. 2. You have the power to change this perception at any time. This control is one that we rarely talk about. It's the ability to not let things shake you that don't deserve your energy. Yes, it's harsh because it means you can't blame others anymore. You can't say, "He made me mad," or "She ruined my day." You realize it's all up to you. 2. The reaction you choose is yours. But here's the empowering part. You can choose again. You don't have to be a slave to your feelings. You can feel anger without acting on it, feel fear and still move forward, or feel sadness without drowning in it. That's a sign of emotional strength. That's freedom. Try this the next time you feel strongly triggered. Take a moment to pause, don't act, breathe, and ask, "Is this feeling useful right now?" Respond with intention, not robotic reactions. It's about being in control, not being owned by your emotions. When you stop being controlled by your emotions, you become clear, calm, and powerful. You show up steady and people notice. You're no longer affected by every little thing anymore. You're grounded. In today's chaotic world, that kind of stability is rare. It's attractive. It's unstoppable. Real growth starts when you stop being a puppet and become the master. Number 3. Stop expecting life to be fair. Life owes you nothing. One of the fastest ways to suffer is to expect life to be fair all the time. Let that sink in for a second. You work hard and someone lazier gets the promotion. You love deeply and they walk away. You do the right thing and still get punished. And then the anger comes. This isn't fair. But here's a truth. Fairness is just something we imagine, not a rule of the universe. Marcus Aurelius said, "You can cause harm by doing nothing." Even the emperor of Rome faced injustice every day, but instead of complaining or giving up, he held on to one strong idea. Life isn't about being treated fairly. Life is about being strong. The Stoics didn't expect good things to happen to them. They expected pain, loss, and change. And because they were prepared for it, they were able to handle it. Let's be honest. Fairness is a great idea, but if we cling to it too much, it can make us weak. When we say, "This isn't fair," we're often saying, "I don't like this, and I don't want to deal with it." But here's the truth. You don't grow by expecting fairness. You grow by facing reality and moving forward anyway. Look around. Bad things happen to good people. Sometimes evil people win. Hard work doesn't always mean success. That's not being negative. That's just how life is. What sets the strong apart from the average person is that they don't wait for fairness. The Stoic builds inner strength so strong that nothing can break them. This doesn't mean being calm and unemotional. It means taking control of your life and treating yourself right, no matter how the world treats you. Seneca once said that sometimes just living is a brave thing to do, especially when life isn't fair. Here's what you do instead of complaining. You use difficult times as a chance to grow. You build skills that are hard to ignore. You love others without expecting anything in return. You face challenges and keep moving forward with dignity. The Stoic approach is about taking full responsibility, not because everything is your fault, but because you always have a choice. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react. And it's that calm, strong response that makes you unstoppable. Fairness isn't promised, but you can earn freedom by making good choices. Number 4, focus on what you can control. Let go of what you can't control. The Stoics thought that your strength comes from a small but important place, inside your control. Everything else, just let it go. Epictetus put it simply, use what you can control and accept what happens. Most people get caught in a trap. They try to control others, predict the future, and worry about the outcome. Then they wonder why they feel anxious, powerless, and angry. But what can you truly control? Your thoughts, choices, actions, and how you respond to things. Everything else, opinions, chance, uncertainty, is outside of your control. You can't control the weather, but you can control what you wear. You can't control if people like you, but you can control how you treat them. You can't control the economy, but you can control how you spend and prepare. Shifting your focus to what you can control is a big change. It gives you back your power. Instead of being pulled in 100 different directions by things you can control, stay strong and focused on your own actions. Imagine being in a storm at sea. The person in charge doesn't yell at the wind, they grab the wheel and steer the ship. That's what makes you calm when others are panicking, focused when others are complaining, and disciplined when others are drifting. It's not about ignoring the world around you. It's about deciding what gets your attention. And 90 of the things people worry about are completely outside of their control. Here's a simple exercise to help you cope with stress. Every time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is yes, take action. If not, let it go. This simple practice can be powerful. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we have power over our own minds, not over external events. When you understand and accept this, you'll find inner strength. And when you live by this principle, people will notice. You'll become unshakable, not because you can control everything, but because you can control yourself, no matter what happens. Number 5, practice voluntary hardship to build unbreakable will. In a world where comfort is easy to come by, learning to be disciplined is a powerful skill. The Stoics didn't wait for life to throw challenges at them. They created their own challenges instead. They weren't trying to suffer, but to get strong. They weren't trying to be mean to themselves, but to prepare for the tough times ahead. Seneca once wrote about the importance of self-discipline. He suggested setting aside some days where you eat very little and wear simple, rough clothes. While doing this, you should ask yourself if this is really the kind of life you were afraid of. This is what Stoics meant by voluntary hardship, choosing a difficult time in order to build a strong mind that can handle tough situations. Now think about this. Most people today try to avoid any kind of discomfort at all costs. They never miss a meal, they never sit in silence, and they never go without their favorite conveniences. But what happens when life gets hard? They often break down, get panicked, and start blaming others. The Stoics, on the other hand, have already practiced dealing with tough times. They've learned to cope with hunger, fatigue, rejection, boredom, and struggle. That doesn't make them invincible. It makes them able to handle anything. You don't build willpower by watching motivational videos. You build it by doing things you don't want to do on purpose. Voluntary hardship can look like this: fasting for a whole day to show you're in control of your desires. Taking a cold shower when all you want to do is get out of it. saying no to something you can afford just to practice self-control. Waking up early to train when all you want to do is sleep. These small choices add up, and over time, you become strong. Not because you're mean to yourself, but because you understand the truth. Being comfortable doesn't make you strong, it's the challenges that do. And when hardship comes, as it always does, you don't run. You smile because you've already been through tough times by choice. Marcus Aurelius ruled during times of plagues, wars, and betrayals, yet he wrote with calm and clarity. Why? Because hardship wasn't a shock to him. It was something he expected. And when hardship is expected, it loses its power to stop you. So instead of asking, how can I make life easier? Ask, how can I become stronger? Practice going without food. Practice being alone. Practice being cold, tired, rejected, bored, and staying focused through it all. Because one day life will throw more at you than you think you can handle. And when it does, you'll be ready. Number 6, forget about what you want to happen. Fall in love with what you're doing. We've been taught to focus on the end result. Get the job, win the deal, hit the goal, earn the money, be popular. But this way of thinking is wrong. Stoicism flips things around. Forget about the result and master your process. Why? Because the result isn't always guaranteed, but you can always control how hard you try. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only thing that matters in life. It's achieved by ignoring things you can't control. When you focus on results, you set yourself up for suffering. You go to the gym for a week, don't see results, so you quit. You start a project, it fails. You feel meaningless, you love someone, they leave, and you fall apart. But what if you fell in love with the actual work itself? The process of showing up, writing, building, thinking, learning, and putting in the effort. This is the Stoic path. When you focus on the process, you'll always come out on top, even if the outcome isn't what you expected. The key is this: when you stop needing a specific outcome, you start achieving more. You're not desperate, you're not emotional, and you're not driven by what others think. You're grounded in taking action. Marcus Aurelius said, "Never let the future bother you. You'll deal with it when the time comes, using the same logic that helps you deal with the present." So, stop worrying about what might happen. Instead, work on your process with courage right now. If you're a writer, write to improve your mind, not to be famous. If you're an athlete, train to master your body, not just to win. If you're working on something, do it for the satisfaction of putting in the effort, not for praise. When you tie your value to results, you become easily discouraged. But when you tie it to your dedication, hard work, and focus, you become unbeatable. Here's a mindset shift inspired by Stoicism. Show up as if you've already achieved what you're working towards, and you're just enjoying the process. Whether you succeed or fail, it's a bonus. You've already won because you've put in the work. Number 7, accept that we all die. Live with a sense of urgency and purpose. Most people act like they're going to live forever, wasting time, delaying their dreams, and staying stuck in bad relationships. But Stoics thought about death to wake themselves up, not to be morbid. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that thought determine what you do, say, and think." That's not fear, it's freedom. It's realizing that life is short, and we don't get to choose when it ends. So every moment wasted is a moment we'll never get back. Let that sink in. You can't keep putting things off until someday. You can't keep telling yourself, "I'll do it later." You can't assume that tomorrow is a given. The Stoics have a practice called memento mori. Remember, you will die. They didn't say it to be gloomy. They said it to stay focused, present, and intentional, because when you truly understand that your time is limited, you stop wasting it, you stop scrolling for hours, you stop arguing over unimportant things, you stop settling for mediocrity, and you start creating, loving, moving. Not tomorrow, today. Epictetus once said, "We don't have to live a short time. We waste a lot of it." You might not be able to control how long you live, but you do control how fully you live. And the biggest lie we tell ourselves is this: there's plenty of time. There isn't. That risk you keep delaying. That business you keep putting off. That person you keep saying you'll forgive. That change you keep saying you'll make next year. This is your moment. This is your time. The Stoic doesn't ignore death. They face it head on and say, "You won't catch me sleeping through life." This awareness doesn't make you feel anxious. It makes you truly alive. The person who remembers death truly speaks honestly, loves openly, works with a sense of urgency, lets go of their ego, and stops being afraid of failure, because failure is a wasted life. You should live like you're running out of time, because you are. And when you do, you become strong, focused, and powerful. You don't chase cheap approval. You move with a sense of purpose. People can feel it, and you can feel it too. 8. Be a warrior for what's right, not for what others think. Let's be honest. Most people live for praise, attention, and applause. But the Stoic doesn't do things to impress others. The Stoic does what's right. Marcus Aurelius said, "Just do the right thing, and the rest doesn't matter." In other words, live with honor, even if nobody sees it. Speak the truth, even if nobody claps. Keep your word, even if it costs you. Train hard, even when nobody's watching. That's what truly matters. It's what builds a strong character that can't be bought. And it's not about being perfect. It's about standing up for what you believe in. Now, here's the hard part. Doing the right thing is often the difficult choice. It's easier to lie. It's easier to try to impress others than to be honest and true to yourself. It's easier to seek approval than to be alone and follow your own path. But every time you choose what's right over what's easy, you get stronger. You become someone your future self will be proud of. You build an identity that no one can take from you. The ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us to live our lives as if everyone was watching. If our thoughts and actions were to be judged by the whole world, we would be more careful about how we behave. A life built on honesty and integrity will not fall apart under pressure. In a world that values image and appearance, the Stoic remains real. In a world filled with noise and distractions, the Stoic stays focused. In a world that values performance and pretending, the Stoic is genuine. If you want to be truly unstoppable, don't live for the praise of others. Live for your values. Live in a way that you can hold your head high, even if you lose your status, wealth, and followers. The moment you stop needing the approval of others, you'll become the kind of person people naturally want to follow. Be a warrior for what's right, not for what's popular. Walk your own path alone, like it's the only path that truly matters. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready to move forward and leave behind the distractions, weaknesses, and emotional turmoil. Step into something greater. Not perfection, but gaining control over your life. Not dominating others, but mastering yourself. That's the Stoic way. This path doesn't offer you comfort, but it gives you clarity, direction, and a life of meaning, even when the world around you is falling apart. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus wrote for a world that was tough, not easy. They wrote about surviving storms, battles, betrayals, and death with dignity. They taught us that true strength comes from within, not from muscles or money. The strength to stand by your word comes from being a man who keeps his promises, a woman who faces her fears with courage, a soul who does the right thing even when it's the hardest choice. You don't need to feel motivated to start, and you don't need the perfect moment. You just need to begin right now. Train your mind. Be prepared for challenges. Let go of your attachment to outcomes. Hold on to your principles. Remember that your time is limited, so live each day as if it's your last. The best part is, you don't need anyone's approval. You don't need praise or understanding from others, because when you walk this path, you become strong from within. This kind of inner strength is rare, real, and it's yours to have. I want you to write in the comments, "I am becoming unshakable day by day." If this message meant something to you, if you felt a spark of truth, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video. Share your favorite quote in the comments. Pass this along to someone who's on their own journey. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We're creating a community of people who think deeply, stand up for what they believe in, and want to live a life with meaning. They're not just looking for empty noise, they're seeking purpose. And remember, don't skip any part of your life. Every experience is a chance to learn and grow. Just keep showing up, keep choosing to be strong, and don't give up until you reach your full potential.